Hi, so we now want to look at what is known as the selection construct. Now with this construct, it involves a point at which a decision needs to be made between two alternatives, okay? And so it involves selection, and selection is the process of making a decision. So previously we've just looked at a simple program that prompts the user to enter the unit price and the quantity of items which have been purchased, and then the values entered into the two variables were multiplied and giving a result of the amount payable. But now what we want to do is to introduce some sort of decision in this program. And we're going to look at an example, and just before I go into that, I need to explain that a selection construct can be represented in this form using a flowchart. And what you have here is a condition, and this condition can either be in a state of true or false. If it is true, program flow will take this path of true. If it is false, a decision will be made for the program flow control to take, another path. So what it is here is, at this point, if there is a given condition here, a decision will need to be made concerning which block of statements need to be executed. So program flow is no longer just in sequence, whereby one statement follows the next. At this point, one of the two statements will need to be selected, and that is why it is known as a selection construct. You are not just going to execute every statement in a program. Particular statements will have to be selected for execution depending on whether they fulfill a given condition. So let us look at an example. And for this example, we are building on what we did in the previous demo. And so what we are going to do is we're going to update the last program so that when a customer buys groceries which exceed a certain amount, in this example 500 kwacha, he or she should be awarded a 10% discount. And so the algorithm is going to read something like this. You read the unit price, of course, and you read the quantity which gets entered by a user, and then you compute the amount payable. Now if amount payable is greater than 500, then award 10% discount as end transaction. So let me work on this program in two stages. First, I'm going to show you a simple form of the program whereby if the amount payable is greater than 500, the simple display given will just be award 10% discount. Then we're going to modify the program so that we actually calculate what that discount is and how much the customer actually pays. So first, let us open the code window for that. So let me open my Visual Studio. I'll open empty project. I'll have to start everything from scratch, so I'll select that option and then click next. Let's give it a name. All right, so again, we're going to have variables. We'll declare the variables that we want to use. We are using the same ones we used in the last program, and we are starting it all over from scratch. So in case one is just watching this part of the video, in case they didn't get to watch the previous one we did, it will be very easy for someone to just follow along with me. Okay, so these are the 4 variables I'm going to use, and for now I don't want to make use of this, so let me remove it. And we want the screen to display enter unit price. So you type that statement, cout enter unit price. Okay, and then the user needs to be prompted to enter a value in the variable unit price. Another prompt will have to ask the user to enter quantity. So whatever we put in these quotation marks is information that we want to be displayed on the screen exactly as it looks. Okay, so after the user has been prompted to enter unit price and quantity and the values have been supplied, next we need to tell the computer what it needs to do with those 2 values. So this is the time now I'm using this variable here, amount payable. I want to give an instruction of what needs to be stored in amount payable variable, and what I want stored there is the result of the multiplication of unit price and what is in the variable quantity. So whatever the user supplies in unit price and whatever the user supplied in the quantity variable will get multiplied, and the result will be stored in amount payable. So, and at this point now, then I can write an instruction to provide the program an opportunity to decide what to do if a given amount exceeds a certain value. So it's at this point that now we want to write a selection construct, and I'll say if what is in amount payable is greater than or equal to 500, then the following can be done. Okay, so I'll say then cout give discount. Okay, all right, so now let's see what happens at this stage. Okay, here's our code window. So if one buys something at a unit price of 100 and then the quantity is 6, they've bought 6 items, so you can see it has displayed give discount. Why? Because this will it will give an amount of 600 kwacha as the amount payable. Now it doesn't show 600 kwacha here, but so let us include a line of code which actually shows the amount payable. So here I may want to type it here, amount payable Okay, so I've just included this line so that someone can at least see how much I was supposed to pay before a discount is effected. So if I enter unit price of 100 and quantity of 6, so now you can see it shows amount payable equals 600 and then give discount. But how would I modify the program if I actually want to show the amount now that the customer needs to pay, taking into account the discount? So let's suppose the discount we're giving is 10% discount. So let's modify the program. So I'm going to add a line of code. So if amount payable is greater than or less than 500 kwacha, and what we are going to do, let me just put this in curly brackets. Doesn't matter, but I just love it this way, it's more readable. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, let me remove this. If amount payable is greater than 500 kwacha, I'll say, now it's at this point now I want to introduce another variable on top there. Let us introduce discount, a variable that will hold the value for discount. I'll go back here and say, I'll write the formula for discount. So discount equals the amount someone was supposed to pay minus 10%. 10% means 10 over 100. And 10 over 100, if I write it in form of a decimal, it will be 0.1. So 0.1 times amount payable. So this is 10% of the amount someone was supposed to pay. 10% of amount payable. And at this point now, I'll say cout let's call it pay, so that it's a different from amount payable. So we'll just say pay, we'll indicate the amount this person has to pay, and then we'll say pay the amount which has been put in this variable discount. And we know that what is in discount is this computation here, amount payable minus 10% of amount payable is what goes into discount. Okay, and we can indicate else, meaning if it doesn't work like this, well, you just have to say cout pay. Okay, then we'll just write amount payable. So what this means is if what the person has bought is not above 500 kwacha, then we just want this to be displayed here, what is in this value, without subtracting any percent out of it. Okay, so that is what we're going to do. And so we can remove this line of code here, since it's the same one here. It achieves the same thing here, so this would be redundant. It will just be producing well, the same amount, but well, let's see how it will come out. We may want it to be like that, so let me run it. So again, I enter unit price is 100 and then quantity is 6, amount payable 600 kwacha, but you are supposed to pay 540 kwacha. So it has removed the 10% discount. So I think it looks pretty cool, because if I remove the other line of code, it means this won't be displaying. But well, let's see what will happen. In programming, always try out. Don't be afraid of what will happen if I just try to do it and see what will happen. So let me remove this. I'll disable it as a comment. For you to put it as a comment, you just put these double slash lines, and what that means is it's being considered as a comment, okay, and it won't be executed. So let's see if we didn't have this line of code, how will the display look like. So 100, enter quantity 6. Okay, so it just shows, yeah, the amount you're supposed to pay. So that other line has been removed. So now what will happen if we enter, if the amount payable is less, let's say 100 kwacha, but I only buy 4 items, meaning it will give a result which is not above 600, above 500 rather. So it says pay 400 kwacha, so it hasn't affected the 10% discount. Okay, so it depends on how you feel the display will be more easy to understand, by the users. But I guess you have an idea of how selection constructs work. Selection constructs are basically the program statements which follows the pattern if then else, okay, and that is what makes up a selection construct. Okay, see you in the next lecture.